everyone. Today I'm going to do a really quick Valentine's Day card. It's basically going to be just die cut letters and also a heart punch. I'm going to use these die cuts by My Favorite Things. They recently brought this particular alphabet out. Just to let you know, it does come on one big sheet where they're kind of held together with little kind of tags, but I've broken them all apart and just filed them down so there's no sharp edges, which means that I can just use the letters singly. I haven't got to kind of faff around with a big sheet of letters. And just to make sure that I don't lose any, I've put these on a magnetic backing in a CD case so it keeps them all together and I don't lose them. Anyway, let's get started with today's card. If you've got a cutter book, you're going to need your A plate, your C plate and your B plate, your cutting plate. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to put my A plate in first, followed by my B plate, my cutting plate. And you can see mine is totally warped and bent and very, very well used, but it's still going strong, so not worried. Then you put the card you're going to cut, which in this case is going to be some really light grey, just light grey cardstock. And then I'm going to put my die cut letters facing down so that they cut into my B plate. Now I'm going to need to cut several sets of these letters, but obviously I can only do them one at a time, so I'm just going to show you this once. And then I'm going to go ahead off camera and cut I think I need 9 sets. I'm going to go ahead and do those off camera because you don't want to see me doing that. And last but not least, I'm going to put my C plate in to complete the sandwich. So just holding it together, I push it through into the machine, turn the handle, and then my die cut shapes should be done. And this is why I just love these die cuts by My Favorite Things. They are so crisp and perfect. Brilliant. Love them. So as I say, I'm going to go ahead and cut about 8 or 9 sets of these ready for the front of my card, and I will meet you back at my craft desk in a few seconds. Okay, so once you've got all your die cut letters cut, we're pretty much ready to assemble the card. I just need to punch out a couple of hearts, and for this I'm going to use this X-Cut heart-shaped punch. It's kind of like an offset heart. It's a really pretty shape. So I'm just going to punch 3 of these. Okay, so I've got all my die cuts complete. I've got my card base ready to go. This is just a normal standard size card. I'm using ivory, and I've just scored that on the halfway point and used my bone folder to get that really crisp fold down the side. Okay, so using my Tim Holtz design ruler, I'm just going to draw a series of lines up this card. I'm drawing them really lightly because I need to rub them out later, and I'm going to do them in 1-inch spacings. This will just give me a visual guide that I can stick the letters down to, and I know they're going to be fairly straight without having to eyeball it too much, because I tend to find when you're doing a full background of repetitive patterns or letters, it's just easier to have some sort of grid to work to. Just to make sure you get it sort of lined up correctly. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the card using this first line that I drew. Now at the moment you can see the card keeps flapping open, and I need this to stay flat, but I can't fold it out because I'm going to have letters overhanging on the edge. So what I'm going to do, just as a temporary thing, I'm just going to use some temporary adhesive on the inside of the card to just close that shut, and then it'll just keep closed while I'm working on it, and then once I've finished I can just rub that temporary adhesive away. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to line up my first word, and these little hearts are in the place of the O in love, but not all of them. I'm just going to replace 3 of the O's. You'll see what I'm doing as I work my way across the card. So I'm just going to spell out this first word. Once I'm happy with the placement of that first word, I can already just go ahead and stick it down. So I'm just going to use some Tombow glue just to stick this down. I find it's the best thing for sticking die cuts to the front of cards because it adheres very quickly and it dries very quickly, and once it's stuck it's staying there, it's not going anywhere. So I really like this glue for doing this. So I'm just lining particularly the V and the E, the bottom of those two letters, with the line that I drew, that faint pencil line that I drew at the bottom of the card. The L and the heart kind of hang over it a little bit, but I'm not too worried. Whoops. Okay, so I've got my first word adhered down to the front of the card. Next, what I need to do is on this next line up, I need to offset the word across to the right. So before I start sticking it down, I'm just going to lay it out just the same way as I did for the first word, just to make sure I'm getting the positioning of the letters correct and that I'm happy with it. For this line, I'm not going to substitute the O with a heart. I'm just going to use the O as is. And once again, once I'm happy with the positioning of these letters, I can go ahead and just stick them to the front of the card. On this next line, I'm going to once again substitute the O for a heart. And I'm again offsetting the word slightly to the right, so one letter to the right. And you can see how this is going to build up. Once I've got all of these rows done, all the way up to here, what I'm going to then start to do is filling in the words, because I want these words to be word wrapped. So I'm going to go ahead and put the E in here, for example, and the V here. So it just keeps saying love, 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 love. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere these down to the front of the card. It does take a while, but it's worth it in the end, I promise. So I'll meet you back here in a couple of minutes. Okay, so you can see I finished putting all of those letters on the front of the card. I've deliberately missed this one here because we're going to actually write the word U in handwriting. So you can also see there's lots of letters sticking out around the side. That's because I didn't want it to just be, you know, love, 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 love. I wanted it to have some movement to the card. So with words reading off the edge of the paper, that does give a lot more movement to the card. So all we need to do is to chop around those. So there's a little tiny bit sticking out on the side here. So I'm just going to trim those down, and same with these on the top. I'm just trimming them up against the side of the card, which gives me a really good guide. I'm now going to write the word U in this bottom right hand corner. You can go ahead and sketch that out with a pencil first if you wish, and then once you've filled it in with a felt tip, you can go ahead and rub it out. But I'm just going to be brave and just write it in as is. Okay, next I'm just going to corner around two of the corners. I'm using my Crocodile Corner Chomper, and I'm going to use it on the half inch setting. I'm just going to go ahead and do this bottom right hand corner and the top right hand corner. And now the card is complete, apart from I still have to rub out all of those pencil markings, but I'm not going to do that until it's completely dry. The only other thing left to do also, but this is optional, is to use some glossy accents on this heart just right here, just to give that give the card a focal point. And then I'm going to go ahead and just fill in that heart with some glossy accents. So with glossy accents, I normally just do an outline of the shape that I'm filling in, which sort of creates a barrier so that the glossy accent doesn't leak out of the sides. And then just go ahead and fill it in between the outline you've just drawn. The more glossy accents you use, the more 3D your shape will be. And obviously the more you use, the longer it's going to take to dry. So just be patient and don't touch it for a couple of hours. As I say, once I've got rid of those pencil lines, the card is done. So hope you like this card. It's something a little bit different. It's quite simple, although it does take quite a while to do. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Bye now.